You're at the car dealership. Saturday afternoon, you came in to look at used cars, something reliable in the $15,000 range. But the salesman is showing you something nicer, newer, better features. MSRP is $34,000. You're shaking your head. That's way out of budget. But he's not talking about the price. He's talking about the payment. What monthly payment works for you? You say maybe $350. He types into his computer, shakes his head. With your trade-in and a small down payment, I can get you to $425 a month. $425. That's more than you wanted, but it's not $34,000. It's $425. You can probably make that work. And the car's right there, clean, new, ready to go. How many months, you ask? 74 months, he says. 7 years, keeps the payment low. You sign, you drive home. And that night, you do the math. 84 months times $425 is $35,700 for a car that costs $34,000. You're paying $1,700 in interest over 7 years. But here's what you didn't calculate. That car will be worth maybe $12,000 in 7 years. You're paying $35,700 for an asset that depreciates to $12,000. You're losing $23,700 in value, and you just committed to $425 a month for the next 7 years. The salesman never mentioned any of that. He just asked, what monthly payment works for you? My name's Peter, and if you've ever bought a car based on whether you could afford the monthly payment, and you want to understand how dealerships use that exact question to extract maximum wealth from you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because low monthly payment isn't a deal, it's a wealth transfer mechanism.
So let's start with what actually happens when you finance based on monthly payment instead of total cost. You're making $64,000 a year. After taxes, about $4,000 take home monthly. And you need a car. Your old one died. You need transportation for work. You walk into a dealership thinking you can afford about $350 a month. That feels manageable. That fits your budget. So when the salesman asks what monthly payment works for you, you say $350. And here's what happens next. He doesn't show you cars that cost $350 a month on a reasonable loan term. He shows you the most expensive car he can get you into for $350 a month by stretching the loan as long as possible. A $20,000 car at 6% for 48 months is $470 a month. That's over your budget. But a $28,000 car at 6.5% for 84 months? That's $350 a month. Perfect. So you buy the $28,000 car because the payment fits. And you just agreed to pay $29,400 over 7 years for a car that will be worth maybe $10,000 when you're done paying for it. The dealership didn't help you find an affordable car. They helped you afford the most expensive car possible by hiding the true cost behind a low monthly payment. And here's your actual financial situation now. Rent, $1,550. Student loans, $295. Insurance and utilities, $315. Groceries, $370. That's $2,530 in fixed expenses before the car. Add the $350 car payment, you're at $2,880. Add insurance for a newer car, $180. Gas, $160. Maintenance, $80. Your car is now costing you $770 a month. You're at $3,300 in total expenses. You've got $700 discretionary for the entire month, and you're locked in to $350 in car payments for 7 years. If anything changes, if you lose your job, if you need to move, if any financial emergency happens, you're trapped. You can't sell the car without taking a massive loss because you're underwater for the first 4 years of the loan.
Most people think the goal at a dealership is to negotiate the best price on the car. Get them down on the sticker price. That's how you win. That's not how it works. Here's what actually happens. The dealership has 4 variables they can manipulate.
the car price, your trade-in value, the interest rate, and the loan term. And they use all four to give you the monthly payment you asked for while maximizing their profit. You say you want $350 a month. They agree. They'll get you to $350. But here's how. They show you a $28,000 car. You negotiate. You get them down to $26,500. You feel like you won. You got $1,500 off. Then they lowball your trade-in. Your car is worth $4,500. They offer $3,000. You negotiate up to $3,200. They reluctantly agree. You feel like you won again. Then the finance manager comes in. Your credit is good, so you qualify for 5.9%, but they mark it up to 6.5% because they can. You don't know what rate you qualified for. You just know 6.5% isn't bad for a used car. Then they stretch the loan to 84 months to hit your $350 payment target. Car price after negotiation, $26,500. Minus your $3,200 trade-in, $23,300 to finance. At 6.5% for 84 months, $350 per month. Perfect. You think you negotiated well. You got the price down, you got more for your trade, you got the payment you wanted. But here's what actually happened. They sold you a $28,000 car for $26,500. You saved $1,500. Then they undervalued your trade by $1,300. They gained $1,300. They marked up your interest rate by 0.6%. Over 84 months, that's about $850 in additional interest they profit from. And they locked you into a 7-year loan that keeps you underwater and unable to refinance or sell without a loss. Net result? You feel like you won. They made their margin and trapped you in a long-term payment that ensures you'll be back in 7 years to do it again because you can't escape the payment cycle. This is called payment packing, and it's standard practice. The entire sales process is designed around one question. What monthly payment works for you? Because once you answer that question, they control everything else. There's a psychological mechanism that makes this particularly effective. It's called mental anchoring on affordability instead of cost. When you walk into a dealership thinking, I can afford $350 a month, your brain anchors on that number. That becomes your decision-making framework. Can I afford this? Yes, $350 fits my budget. Done. You never ask, should I be spending $29,400 over 7 years on a depreciating asset? Because that question feels abstract and overwhelming. $350 a month feels concrete and manageable. So you make decisions based on monthly affordability instead of total cost. And every time you do that, you lose. Because here's what the numbers actually look like. That $28,000 car at $350 a month for 84 months costs you $29,400 total. The car depreciates to roughly $10,000 by year 7. You've lost $19,400 in value. Meanwhile, someone who bought a $12,000 car with cash drives that same car for 7 years. It depreciates to about $5,000. They've lost $7,000 in value. Same 7 years, same need for transportation. One person lost $19,400. The other lost $7,000. The difference is $12,400 in wealth. But the person with the $28,000 car had a nicer car, better features, newer technology. For 7 years, they felt like they had a better vehicle. And that feeling cost them $12,400.
Let's talk about what this costs over a typical lifetime of car buying, based on monthly payments. You start at 25, you finance your first real car, $26,000, 72 months, $420 a month. Over 6 years, you pay $30,240. The car is worth $9,000 when you're done. Net loss, $21,240. At 31, you trade it in. You're tired of it. You want something newer. $32,000 car, minus $9,000 trade, finance $23,000 for 72 months at $380. Over 6 years, you pay $27,360. Car depreciates to $11,000. Net loss, $16,360. At 37, same cycle. $35,000 car minus $11,000 trade, finance $24,000 for 72 months at $400. Over 6 years, you pay $28,800. Car depreciates to $13,000. Net loss, $15,800. At 43, again, $38,000 car minus $13,000 trade, finance $25,000 for 72 months at $420. Over 6 years, you pay $30,240. Car depreciates to $14,000. Net loss, $16,240. From age 25 to 49, you made $116,640 in car payments. You always had a car worth about $10,000 to $14,000. Total wealth lost to depreciation and interest, $69,640. Now here's the alternative. Someone who bought reliable used cars with cash every 8 years. At 25, buy $10,000 car cash. Drive it 8 years, sells for $4,000, loss $6,000. At 33, buy $11,000 car cash. Drive it 8 years, sells for $4,500, loss $6,500. At 41, buy $12,000 car cash. Drive it 8 years, sells for $5,000, loss $7,000. From 25 to 49, they spent $33,000 on cars and lost $19,500 to depreciation. They always had a car worth $4,000 to $7,000. Same 24-year period. One person lost $69,640. The other lost $19,500. The difference is $50,140 in lifetime wealth. But the person financing always had a nicer car, newer features, better everything. And that cost them $50,140 over 24 years. The question isn't whether nicer cars are better. They are. The question is having a nicer car worth $50,140 in lifetime wealth? For most people, the answer is no, but they never do this math. They just ask, can I afford $420 a month?
You're lying in bed, Tuesday night. You're thinking about the car payment, $425. It hits your account on the 5th of every month, and you've got 3 years left, 36 more payments. You're doing the mental math. If you could get rid of that payment, you'd have $425 more per month. That's $5,100 a year. That's an emergency fund in a year. That's a vacation. That's breathing room. But you're trapped. You still owe $14,800. The car is worth maybe $11,000. You're $3,800 underwater. To get rid of the payment, you'd need to come up with $3,800 cash to cover the gap. And you don't have it because all your margin goes to the payment. And that tightness in your chest, it's the realization that you're stuck in this for 3 more years. And in 3 years, you'll probably do it again. Because everyone does. Because this is just how you buy cars. So here's how people who actually build wealth think about car buying. They reject the entire monthly payment framework. When they need a car, they don't ask, what payment can I afford? They ask, what's the cheapest, reliable transportation that meets my needs? Usually, that's a 7 to 10-year-old Honda or Toyota with 80,000 to 120,000 miles. Costs $8,000 to $12,000. They buy it with cash, or they save up for 6 months and then buy it. And here's the key. They plan to drive it for 8 to 10 years minimum. They're not thinking about upgrading. They're thinking about eliminating the car payment from their life permanently. So they buy the $10,000 car. They own it immediately. No payment, no interest. And every month, they take the $425 they're not paying to a dealership and put it into savings or investments. After 1 year, $5,100 saved. After 5 years, $25,500 saved plus investment returns, maybe $28,000 total. After 10 years, the car finally dies. They've got about $60,000 saved and invested. They buy another $11,000 car with cash. They still have $49,000 invested and no payment. Meanwhile, the person who financed based on monthly payments is on their second or third car loan. They've always had a payment.
They've accumulated nothing, and they're still asking, what monthly payment can I afford? Same income, same 10 years. One has $49,000 invested and no payment. The other has a car worth $13,000, a payment of $450, and $3,200 in savings. The difference is the framework. One optimized for total cost and ownership. The other optimized for monthly affordability and constant payments. Now, let me be very clear about something. Dealerships aren't evil. They're businesses optimizing for profit. And the "what monthly payment works for you" question is incredibly effective at maximizing profit while making customers feel like they got a deal. But that doesn't change the fact that financing cars based on monthly payments is one of the most expensive ways to handle transportation over a lifetime. The average American has a car payment from age 25 to 67. 42 years of continuous payments, averaging $400 to $500 monthly. That's $200,000 to $250,000 in payments over a lifetime for cars that depreciate to near zero. The person who opts out of the payment cycle at 30 and buys cash from then on saves about $150,000 to $180,000 over their lifetime. That's the cost of asking, "what monthly payment can I afford?" instead of asking, "what's the total cost and is this really worth it?" So here's the thing about low monthly payments. They're not designed to save you money. They're designed to make expensive purchases feel affordable, so you buy more car than you need and stay in debt longer than necessary. The monthly payment isn't the cost, it's the bait. The real cost is the total amount paid plus the opportunity cost of what that money could have become if you'd bought cheaper and invested the difference. You can finance based on monthly payments and have nice cars and permanent debt, or you can buy based on total cost and have modest cars and accumulated wealth. Most people choose the nice cars. The ones who build wealth choose the modest cars and the compound returns. If you want to understand how this exact same affordability trap is being used to keep people making $90,000 a year completely broke, click the video on your screen right now. Stop optimizing for the monthly payment and start optimizing for your freedom. I'll see you there.